do you feel like you're becoming a football widow because your partner's out watching the football? Loads of women were like 100%, like really, like could really understand that aspect. And
Yeah.
like I think one of the questions I asked was like, oh, do you feel football is like the mistress as such?
Welcome to Into SensOn, your safe, unfiltered late night space where technology meets intimacy. Recorded live with members of our community, we're talking about everything from modern love to dating disasters and self-exploration, just like you would with your best friends after midnight. I'm your host, Natalie. Let's get into it.
So let's start with Pride Month, because Pride Month is nearly over.
Yeah.
I think that we've touched on this slightly before, but I'd love to know more of your thoughts on women who might want to explore either sexual fantasies or sexuality in general, and sometimes the barriers that they might face when considering exploring things that they're not sure about with a real person, because it can be nerve-wracking. It can sometimes, in the very wrong situation, almost be dangerous. But it's also, it can be something kind of that, you know, you explore something and you end up it not being the thing for you. And then there's that kind of like post experience kind of shame or embarrassment. Like, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Well, I actually have quite a funny story about Pride. So this was Manchester Pride, which is yet to actually happen. Manchester Pride is until August sort of time.
Yes.
Yeah. And I got booked to do some presenting there on Pride, and it was for a sexual wellness brand. And I had my partner come out with me, and we were literally like giving out sex toys to everyone at Pride, and it was so, and everyone loved it. Everyone was so up for it. I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. I'm going to use this, and like everyone was so into it and up for it. But it was just quite funny. It was just quite funny. I was just going to say it's quite funny because I brought out my partner and it was like this sort of weather. It was like 32 degrees.
Oh,
he was sweating. Do you want this sex toy? Do you want this? But everyone loved it though. Everyone responded.
Did he have to explain to people that he was sweating because of the heat and not sweating because he was handing out sex toys?
No. I mean, he was maybe sweating because of that as well. But yeah, it was maybe because of the heat.
I mean, I know you do a lot of stuff in our beautiful shared town of Manchester, but have you ever done that in other places? Do you feel like Manchester's different to other places when it comes to that attitude?
Yeah, I mean, I've mainly done it, in Manchester. In London, I have done it before, but again, it's just kind of picking like the right area. Like, I wouldn't necessarily do that in like Mayfair in London. I feel people would just be like, "Oh, why you do?" Or in like, I don't know, Liverpool Street would be again wrong place. I think it just depends where you go, because I think I did it when it was in Shoreditch, and like again a bit more creative, a bit more, and I think it's the same here. Like when I go to like Northern Quarter, everyone's really up for it. But if I was to maybe go to like Deansgate, don't know if people might be a bit more like, oh, don't know about that. So I think it just depends on the area.
Definitely have to know your area when it comes to stuff like that. But you know, Pride is obviously about celebrating everybody's kinks, everybody's sexualities, everybody's personal preferences, you know, across the spectrum of sexuality. And, you know, I think there's a lot of statistics out there to say that there are women who certainly feel like maybe they're unsure or uncomfortable about exploring certain things or trying certain things that they've maybe kept in the back of their mind. And so I'm just wondering what you think about a product like SensOn. Obviously, it has AI characters, men, women, different personality types, different scenarios for exploring those kind of things that you think maybe you would like to kind of explore, but you're not really sure if you want to broach that with another person.
I think it's great because you're able to explore those sort of fantasies, but in a safe space. You're not actually going out there and going to meet someone, because even just going out there and meeting someone can be quite an overwhelming experience anyway. So being able to like explore it from the comfort of your home and figure out if it's something you sort of like or you're sort of into is like such a safer and way better way, like better way to do things, I would say.
Yeah, and that's before we even get into, you know, straight cis women like me who, you know, a lot of people in my category are just sick of dating. They're just sick of going out there and trying to
I
meet
haven't
people.
actually looked at the female characters on SensOn yet, but that's something I'd be quite intrigued to, like, not even though I'm, you know, a straight woman, I'd be quite intrigued to like chat to a woman just for fun to see, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
but like, again, it's like exploring a fantasy rather than me going out there and being like, right, I'm gonna go find someone, because that sometimes, like, when you take it out of the fantasy, it doesn't become a fantasy anymore, if that makes sense.
yeah,
You're sort of
yeah,
a bit like, oh no, this is not what I want at all. But I
yeah.
like it as something that's, yeah, a fantasy.
In sort of my imagination and in my safe space, and I can be
exactly.
what, because, you know, let's face it, humans, regardless of your sexuality, regardless of whether you're with a man, woman, you know, whoever, people don't necessarily always turn out the way that you might have imagined them to in your head.
Definitely not. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be really brutally honest here, guys, and this is going back quite a long time because I am getting on a bit now. But I did once hook up with a guy who I met at a party, and I thought, I had this idea of him in my head, and he didn't just turn out to not be like the idea, but he was just utterly boring. And by this point, obviously, like, I'm in a bedroom with him. I did kick him out. I did just kick him out. I mean, it was quite brutal. But there you go. That's the reality, guys, of real life hookups with real life humans.
But this is the thing, like, did you meet him on a dating app and then did you meet up?
No, we met at a block party. I had no intention of hooking up with anybody, but we met at a block party, and I thought, he's quite hot, and probably just didn't pay enough attention. I probably was a few drinks in at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just didn't play out the way that I might have imagined it would.
Because I feel like that happens quite a lot with dating apps. You get chatting to someone, you start visualizing them in your head and being like, oh my God, this guy, blah, blah. Because that's happened to me before, where I've been chatting to someone and then you actually end up meeting up and you're like, oh, no, you're not what I, visualized. And
I remember years and years ago meeting up with a guy from a dating app. And when I met up with him in real life, it was clear that all of his pictures were from like 10 years before. And I was like, it wasn't a catfish, but there's another word for it, isn't there now? It's like, it's not a catfish, but it's like there's another type of fish that I think they call this, but it's basically the misrepresentation.
Definitely.
Like, you did not look like this in your picture. So
no.
You know, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because I know you and I are very authentic on our social media. And I'm sure you've had this. I know you've been with your lovely man for however long now, but I'm sure you've had this too, where people actually say, or at least they have to me, when people have met me who knew me online previously, have gone, oh, wow, you actually look like your pictures.
Yeah, that's happened to me before as well.
And I'm always shocked by that, because it kind of gives an impression or a suggestion of how many people really do alter their pictures that much that people are surprised when they meet somebody who actually looks like their pictures.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm all for like a nice filter and things like that. Like,
go for it. Spin a little bit if that's what you're into.
Yeah. But I think if you're really changing it to the point where you look completely different, then isn't it uncomfortable for you then going on a date and meeting someone? Like, do you not? I think people don't realise it though. I don't
think they think that far ahead.
Like that far. Yeah, I think so too. I think people don't think like that.
It definitely struck me one of the times I met a guy, and he actually said, wow, you're so much more attractive in real life. Like, your pictures don't do you justice. And I just immediately went, well, I'm glad it's that and not the other way round. And then I thought, oh, gosh, no, but for some people, do they realise that the person that they've met up with is actually like disappointed compared to their pictures? I'm like, that must feel really awful. Like, I'd I'd rather just have my real pictures on, and if somebody doesn't like them, they can just swipe left.
Yeah,
not that I'm on the dating apps anymore, guys. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not for me. I tried it, I failed. I did not. While we're on the subject now, and while I've got the shirt on, let's talk about the World Cup, because obviously England absolutely smashing it.
Yesterday.
Is it coming home?
Maybe. Who knows?
I mean, I was definitely that obnoxious England fan in the last 2 months in LA. Well, since the World Cup started, who was going, it's coming home. Like, when people said, who do you think's going to win? And I was like, England. And they were like, no, really? I was like, England. No, I really think that. There's a great optimism about us English when it comes to football. I love it.
For sure. It's nice like vibes when it's out as well. Like, it's good atmosphere and seeing everyone together, for sure.
Yeah, do you know what? I love that about the World Cup. I love it, just brings everybody together. And, you know, I was watching the England-Croatia game on Santa Monica Pier, and there was a big event.
That must have been so nice.
It was so nice, and there were so many people there, and, you know, only probably, I would say, about a fifth of us there, maybe even less, were actually English. And there were people there from all over, and we were just hugging each other. Everyone was having a good time. There was a girl in front of me who was from Kazakhstan, but lives in London now. She was cheering for England, and I was just like, you know what, this is great. This is such a vibe, and it's so nice to just bring people together. So, Zara, if you're watching, I don't know if you've joined us, but Zara, we're friends on Instagram now. If you're watching, hi, Zara, it was nice to meet you. But yes, the World Cup, how does that relate to women's pleasure exactly? Because
well, it was interesting because, when I did interview people on the streets, the whole like, are you, do you feel like you're becoming a football widow because your partner's out watching the football? Loads of women were like 100%, like really, like could really understand that aspect.
Yeah.
And, like, I think one of the questions I asked was like, oh, do you feel football is like the mistress as such? And loads of women were like, yeah, it's like the side chick, the person during the World Cup. So it's like, it totally, because when I went out on the streets, I was a bit like, does that really work? Like, pleasure, World Cup? Like, but there's actually a lot of like, ways into it for sure. And I got some really interesting answers. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I introduced that phrase to a girl from Los Angeles, but lives in New York, while I was out in the States. And I said a football widow, and she'd never heard it before, and she was cracking up. And I had to explain the concept of what a football widow is. You can also get, PlayStation widows, or, basketball widows, whatever it is that your man is into, whatever it is that he ignores you for.
Yeah, you're dead to him. You're a widow.
Yeah, basically, it's like you might as well be Casper the ghost. He can't see you for the duration.
Like of that time,
But I do think that I had an inkling that there were still going to be football, because football isn't for everyone. I know how I happen to be one of the girls that's into the football, but not everybody is. Everyone's different.
If I'm honest, I'm not majorly into it either, but it was quite funny, like, speaking to other girls on the streets who weren't necessarily into it either. And like, some of the questions, I was like, what's your most offside DM? And like making everything football related. And it was fun.
I love it. I can't wait to see these videos, honestly. They're going to be great. So, I don't want to give too much away. Obviously, you've got these videos coming out, but of the girls that you spoke to who did consider themselves football widows, did they think that something like SensOn might? Well, I was just going to say, did they think that something like SensOn might be of interest to them? Might be something that
one of the girls was like 100%, and it was interesting because, like, obviously, I asked the whole, do you feel like you're becoming a football widow? Yes. And I was like, oh, would you ever try like an AI device designed for women's pleasure? And they were like, what's that? And then once I explained it to them, they were like, oh my God, yes. And we're like really up for kind of trying it. So yeah. And then I was kind of explaining about the whole aspect of the football characters on the app. And it's just interesting, really interesting.
I'm very proud to say that I put forward that suggestion for adding some football player characters.
It's a great suggestion, just because of the theme of World Cup, but yeah,
not for any personal reason whatsoever.
Do you have a footballer fantasy?
Well, I don't know if you saw my video that I did with
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah. So, interesting sub-story about that bit of development with the product was that I made this suggestion of the football player characters, and the product team said to me, and this I will get back because this touches on a wider point about how you guys out there can contribute to the development of SensOn, because you can. I said football player characters, and they said, can you send us some that you like? So I was sitting there screenshotting all the hot footballers and sending them.
A lot of girls were saying when I was on the streets, because I asked them a whole question about like who would be your fantasy football threesome, and loads of girls was like, oh, that Nigerian goalkeeper guy. Have you seen him? The Nigerian goalkeeper.
He's too handsome.
Oh, but I don't know what his name is. I don't know his name.
Oh, it's Okoye. I think it's Maduka Okoye. Not that I've been studying him whatsoever.
You've been studying and creating him.
You can enjoy your own kind of football. But it does touch on a wider point, because part of, you just said it there. Some of the girls wanted to know what the concept was of this AI device, because it's still a wild concept. And I remember...
I think initially when people say AI, you still get that sort of fear factor of like, oh, that sounds a bit scary, that sounds a bit... But when you actually explain the device, and it's more an immersive experience more than anything. It's not like you're on ChatGPT asking questions. It is more like an immersive experience for yourself. So I think when you explain it like that, then people are like, oh, actually, wow, that's amazing. And I did actually speak to this one woman who was saying to me, oh, when I say to my partner, oh, can I come watch the football with you? He's like, no, it's a man's thing. It's a boy's thing. Like, no, what? Like, it's a boy's thing, sort of. And I found that quite interesting. So I thought, oh, like, that maybe there's that aspect of it as well, that men want to go watch it with the men and be men and not have the women there as such.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think definitely looking back at one of my exes, that was definitely a theme with him. There was definitely the boys' time.
Yeah.
You weren't welcome. Part of that. With him, the problem was it was always boys' time. Always.
Yeah, there
was never any relationship time other than if I was cooking him dinner. So but yeah, no, that is definitely an interesting point as well. But yeah, so the concept of it, I remember when I first heard about SensOn and they explained the product to me, and I think I couldn't fathom, when you first, like you said, when somebody first mentions it, you go, well, what? How does that work? And then they explain it. And it is such a huge leap in innovation from, I think sex toys, other than the sort of, the suction devices that came out a few years ago, there wasn't really much innovation or development, probably for the last 20 years. They were all different variations of the same kind of thing. So this felt like such a leap, I think, in terms of what a product could offer. I kind of went from being like, how does that work, to, wow, okay, that's really interesting. And I think one of the things that I still find really exciting and interesting about it is, like a lot of tech companies, obviously part of the product is app based. They can constantly update it and add things like the football characters. So for girls out there who find this concept interesting, like most tech companies, they have community channels. They've got a Discord, they've got an Instagram community, and you can literally go in there and ask for what you want, like I did with the football player character.
That's great. That's really good to know as well, because I found it when I was talking to people. People are like, oh, do they have a character like this? Oh, do they have something like that? So it's great that it feels a bit more like a collaborative sort of thing as well.
Yeah, because, I think they're one team. I'm one person. I've asked for the things that I'm into, but what I'm into certainly doesn't represent all women,
Yeah, of course.
So it's I think it's just a really interesting thing, and especially like how quickly they turn the football player characters around. If there's something that you're into, you can literally go and give that feedback and request it in the app, and they can build it. And I just think that alone, that, you know, when if you put the hardware and even the app and the whole immersive thing to one side, that alone is such a massive step forward in terms of women, like we've said in this whole live so far, being able to explore different fantasies with different characters, different sexes, and, you know, whatever they come up with.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're kind of putting women first and kind of prioritizing our pleasure a bit more, and also being able to own that by, like you said, being able to request different characters or request different things. It feels like they're putting women at like the forefront of it, rather than you're just someone who's purchasing the device, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can explore things that don't even exist in the real world. Like if you wanted a werewolf character, they could probably I'm sure they can build there's definitely some elven character. I know they've been reading that fairy porn that's all over BookTok.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely some sort of elven character on there already that I've checked out.
I noticed that. It was like a Twilight sort of
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also
the thing is, people have so many different types of fantasies as well, and like you're not necessarily going to go, I don't know, hunting through the woods trying to find a vampire.
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You did, like we were saying about people and things not turning out the way you envisioned it. If you did meet a real life vampire, it might not go down.
No, it'd kind of probably freak you out of it. So that's what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Weirdly, there's also a character on there who is the spitting image of one of my mates, and I did have to message him and tell him.
Really?
I said, there is a character on here who looks just like you, and he was absolutely over the moon about it. He couldn't have been prouder. Wow. He couldn't have been prouder. Yeah.
Wow. So that's quite a compliment in some ways, because like they're saying like you're what women would be into.
Well, yeah.
So it's kind of a compliment in some ways, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they had made him, the character, the AI version of him was a good 10 years younger than my friend actually is. So they had made him quite a young, you know, women who were into a younger man.
Yeah. A young stud.
Yeah. So I think that probably just made him even happier.
That's so funny. Love that.
But if you were going to create your own character for the app, is there anything that springs to mind that you would instantly know you wanted to create? Because for me, it was footballers.
Yeah, maybe not. I would be quite into maybe sort of like rich Wolf of Wall Street, sort of like a New York businessman vibes.
Oh,
yeah, that could be quite hot, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like I feel like there might even be a character like that on there.
There might be. I haven't looked for that personally, but we'll have to have a look. And if not,
yeah, or kind of feeding into the whole like sugar daddy fantasy as well, because I think a lot of women are quite into that too. So that would be interesting to explore.
I've definitely seen a wave of younger girls, you know, early 20s with what looked like could be almost retired husbands on TikTok. It's certainly been, I don't know why the algorithm decided to pop that into my feed. But I
tell you something.
I think it was trying to tell me that I have a history. I am a bit of a baby face, those who know how old I am. I am a little bit of a baby face. And so I naturally attract men who are younger than me because they think I'm their age. So I do have a dating history that is involves mostly guys who are younger than me, and B, has also been a complete disaster. I don't know if those two things are linked. So perhaps it was, yes, boys in the World Cup, absolutely. I know. It's good to see us make that final. Is it final 32 rounds? But yeah, I think maybe TikTok was trying to suggest to me that perhaps I should try dating someone older than me for a change. Maybe not quite that much older.
Maybe not
certainly
that much older.
Just verge onto.
But they definitely could, like, depending on sort of what's going on in the world, like even like hot tennis players or something, like with Wimbledon and things like that. So it could be interesting if they were like to have limited edition characters as such
That
for
would
the
be
period.
great.
Yeah, for like the period of what's going on in the world, maybe. That could be quite
Oh,
cool.
you're just making me think of young Rafa Nadal.
Well, like at Christmas, like a Santa fantasy special.
Do you know what?
I bet that's
I
a
don't
thing for
think
some people. I bet it is.
who don't know, SensOn is an AI-powered intimate device for women. It is a 3-in-1 device, so it touches 3 of your erotic zones, the first 3 that you think of, it's those ones. And it's completely hands-free and connects to an app of AI characters that you can interact with. And basically the device and the various parts of it, which can be used individually or all together, move in sync with what the character says they are doing with you, to you, however you enjoy that time. You can enjoy it like that. So this is what it looks like. It comes in a beautiful case. Katarina has been taking this device out onto the streets of Manchester and showing it to people. This is the inside.
Loads of people said they love the design as well. They said it's very like sleek looking.
It was one of the first things I noticed, because I think that, you know, traditionally women's intimate devices have been fairly on the garish side, lots of bright colours and no casing. And that is something that I've often said, you could just leave on your bedside table and nobody would know what it was. It just looks like a bit of an ornament. And
Yeah,
even the
you wouldn't know at all. Yeah.
Even the hardware just being all white with that lovely glow of that purple light. I think it's just attractive all
I feel
round.
like if Molly May wanted a sex toy, it would be SensOn, because it's very like clean girl aesthetic. So they should send her one.
You know what? I might suggest that as well, because she's not scared of talking about anything, is she? So I'm sure she's.
It's very clean looking. Like,
it is.
It matches the clean girl aesthetic look.
What kind of feedback have you had when you've taken the device out onto the streets of Manchester?
I always get the sort of like, oh wow, what's this sort of thing. Yeah. But everyone has said, yeah, very sleek looking, discreet. Yeah, all of that stuff. And then it's quite funny because then some people say, oh, it'd be nice if it had like a colour to it. And I'm like, well, the actual middle bit lights up pink. And they're like, oh, that's really nice. And they said like the whole colour of the pink, it feels quite warm and quite like feminine, relaxing. So it's not like a kind of garish pink. So I feel like it all matches really well.
Yeah, I think you definitely, I think they've really kind of thought of everything, actually. Because like you said, that for the people who did want the colour, it is very clean looking and I really enjoy that as well. But I think the colour does add something that stops it being overly clinical looking. It still just makes it a bit more, because, you know, it's designed for pleasure. It's meant to be playful. It's meant to be something that you enjoy. And it is very playful, that bit of colour. And the fact that it's a light and the way that, like you said, it glows and it's not too sort of in your face. It's very fun. So and you know what? And I always love watching your videos when you take it out and about, because I don't think there's not many people that I've ever seen online or anywhere else who just walks around the streets of a city with a sex toy. And it's great. And I absolutely love to see it. And you do it so amazingly. And yeah, I'm just really excited to watch the next round of videos.
Just in regards to Pride, I went to, it was a TV series premiere for Channel 4 for this show called Tiptoe. And it was really great. We watched like the first episode, but that was all filmed on Canal Street. And it's very much like centering around kind of homosexuality and like pride. And there's loads of themes in the show of like, you know, there was this one scene in the show where he's like a drag artist and he's talking about how he feels like he has to tiptoe now when he goes into rooms because he can't feel like he can express himself as much. And there was like, it was really interesting, just the different themes, but I feel like it kind of links back to the whole thing of like wanting to explore your fantasies but maybe being too scared to go out there and explore them, Whereas if you had like a product like SensOn, you could explore them and, you know, in private. But yeah, that was really interesting though.
That is fascinating. I'm definitely going to have to check that show out.
Yeah,
and
it's really good. I mean, I haven't actually watched the full series yet, but it does get quite dark. So yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm glad you warned me about that. But maybe we can suggest that they do a season 2 with SensOn.
That's it for tonight's session. Thank you for spending your time with us. If this episode made you laugh, nod, or scream same, please leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It genuinely helps other women find us. And come hang out in our Discord. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, take care of yourself in every way.